Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Thursday, the 19th of October, comes to you from London. And we start by looking at the dollar index. Dollar just falling away a little bit here on the short-term chart, but still above the cloud on the lagging line, so bullish, maybe hitting some medium-term resistance. So we have seen dollar strength mostly this week, but just pulling back a little bit now. And that, of course, translates into euro strength, dollar weakness, euro strength, and we are just seeing the euro coming back above the cloud on the short-term chart. So that is looking a bit better again. So euro starting to look good again. Looking at the Japanese yen, dollar was looking very strong the last few days, but has again just falling away there as well. Sterling is not faring as well against the dollar, so even though the dollar is weak today, sterling is weaker still, and we are below the cloud, so we are still bearish. Downside target here of 128.77, 2% downside not yet activated, so a bit early to say whether we'll go back below that 130 level. Against the euro, sterling looking very weak, just pulling away here below the cloud, hitting medium-term resistance on the lagging line, and the long-term cloud is still bearish, of course. We do have this downside target still of 98 cents hanging over us, so that's really quite significant, 11.5% downside. But the short-term targets are not showing through yet, so it's a bit early to say. The Swiss franc, sterling falling away here as well, and against the Australian dollar also hitting new lows with downside potential of up to 2.8% downside. So sterling not having a good day. Looking at the S&P 500, still holding its bullishness, 2560s now, so looking good there. Nasdaq also just holding on, the Dow continuing to make new highs, and the Russell 2000 just sitting a bit flat at the moment. So the rise in US stocks is not quite as broad-based in the last week or so. Taking a look at the S&P future, we're down very slightly, and on the Nasdaq E-mini we're down about 0.5%. It does look like US markets will open lower today. The FTSE 100 struggling today, just sitting in the doldrums around this 7,500 level, and the FTSE 250 much the same. We are still just bullish, but it is looking a little bit less strong than the US. The DAX has been looking great lately, but just back below the 13,000 level now, still holding its bullish position on the short-term chart, and again a shortage of short-term upside targets, so difficult to call. The Nikkei looking very strong indeed, just continuing to make new highs, so that's looking very good. And we see here in 2015 the multi-year highs coming in on the Nikkei. Hang Seng just diving a little bit this morning, so not looking quite as good, and the Shanghai market also just coming back, so China just struggling a little bit. India just sideways really, virtually unchanged overnight, so holding its position better. The Australian market looking still pretty strong, and really hasn't had a great run the last week or so, so it's holding those gains. Brent crude sitting at 57.50, so we are just holding on to the bullish position there, but struggling to just keep that trend going. And WTI is already below the cloud with a downside target of 50.46. Really, $50 seems to be just the normal level for WTI at the moment. US Natgas falling further yesterday, sitting at $2.85, so Natgas just really can't break through this $3 level for the US. Copper down at the moment, having had a great run the last week or two, is just falling back. Heating oil also falling back. We're seeing that really as a theme right through with commodities. Gold is up. Market's looking a little bit weaker, so the gold is up, but it is actually still bearish below the cloud, and we have activated this downside target of 1243. The more interesting target is this short-term, the medium-term target of 1127. So if we go below this 1260 level, we activate that target, so we need to keep an eye on that. Taking a look at silver, very similar position, of course, as gold, and taking the US Treasury yields sitting at 2.31%. So just sitting in the 230s here, awaiting direction from the Fed. Apple holding its gains, looking bullish still on all time frames. Google still looking pretty good. Amazon just struggling on that medium-term chart, still struggling to get through the cloud. Facebook looking stronger, having hit the 176 level, looking pretty good, making new all-time highs there. And Microsoft also just continuing in its run, just pushing higher all the time. Look at that trend, quite something. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you.